Captain N should be actually good. Hello and welcome, my Nintendo enjoying Leafs. So, this is an idea I had while showering for an anime that Nintendo desperately should do, but they never will, let's face it. And yeah, it has to do with Captain N, because granted, I enjoyed Captain N as a kid. It's not good. Honestly, it's not good. It gets all the characters wrong. It gets everything wrong. But the premise of it, it's not bad. An adventure story through different Nintendo franchises? Well, it also had Capcom and stuff, but we keep it on Nintendo just because copyright stuff is complicated nowadays. Yeah, actually I wanna see that. And then it came to me. You can do it in a very cool way. So, enjoy this like podcast style. I don't have any visuals to show, of course, but let me go through the story, or the idea of the story rather. Going into very detailed chapter 1, or episode 1 rather. This is supposed not to be a manga. You could do it as a manga though. And that will technically not even be about the main characters. So, we start with 2 children, and the story is, yeah, I decided to set it into America for a good reason, because the thing is, a boy and a girl, they are children, they meet in first grade school, elementary school, of course. And they become friends. The girl invites him over. And, well, they play the Super Famicom. Not the Super Famicom, just the Famicom. We start at the beginning. And the boy is like, whoa, what is this cool thing? A bit later, the NES actually gets released, and he gets that. And they play that together as well. And then she says, hey, I got this new game from Japan. Like, look at this. It's called Zelda no Densetsu, which she translates from, she is Japanese, and her father sometimes goes overseas to work in Japan and brings back all this stuff. And that way, that's why I chose America as a setting, we can include both the Japanese and American versions of these older consoles. And I think that would be beautiful. And yeah, he goes like, oh, that sounds cool, it looks adventurous, and starts to input the name for his character. Z-E-L. And she's like, no, that's not his name. Zelda is the princess. His name is... And then, you gotta imagine this. This will be important later. The scene zooms out a bit. They look into each other's eyes. Remember, they are children still, so, you know, it's just a foreshadowing thing. They look into the eyes and she says, Link. And then basically all the episode does is skip through their childhood. They grow up with the consoles. There will be tears because she does move overseas for a bit. But she also comes back, bringing back new games. They, like, use the internet to still communicate and stuff. It's all beautiful. And then when she comes back, you see them getting together. And then both of them being in Japan, under the trees of the Sakura. You see them at their marriage. And you see them rings. And the rings are special. Because their favorite game has become The Legend of Zelda. His favorite character being Link, the heroic hero. Her favorite character being Zelda, the princess that also can dish out damage. She is not like your typical princess always getting abducted. No. She also can fight, even if though in the end she usually gets abducted by the evil, but not without fighting back, right? Zelda's cool. And thus their rings have gemstones His ring has a green gemstone cut in a triangle shape for the Triforce of Courage, and hers in blue. And you see the engraving inside of the ring saying, his name is, and then in capital letters, Link. As a sign for the beginning of their friendship that led to this love and marriage. As well as to the link they have. It's just beautiful. And you skip forward a bit more. And then you see them having children. Twins. A boy and a girl. And they borrow the Super Nintendo from them because they have, like, you see the scene where all the consoles, Virtual Boy included, all that stuff, color TV games, 16 even, are on those shelves in the basement somewhere, like the huge collection. And they are allowed to play the Super Nintendo, and they want to play some Link to the Past. And then you see those two little children with their Super Nintendo controllers in hand, starting the game glitching out, and then you only see the outside of the door and a bright light coming from under the door. And that's where the first episode will end, giving us a very wholesome setup that should remind you of something like, I don't know, some romance film, you know, some good movie, some really nice anime movie. And then with episode 2, the actual things begin. Because the two children, in a very new getup that looks a bit more adventurous, and we have them be like... Sorry. Coughing in a one-take video is awful. And you see them in a new getup that's more adventurous. And yeah. Basically, they are in a different world. Of course, this is an isekai anime because, like, I said it's based on Captain N. That's not based on Captain N, but it's like the premise. And these two realize, wait, this world looks a bit familiar. And then they look around and see a castle in the distance. It's not the castle from Zelda though, because while I set it up that their favorite game is Zelda, at least of the parents, and they were playing A Link to the Past as a nod to all that, they aren't sucked into Zelda. They are sucked into the whole universe of Nintendo games. And depending on how the licensing goes, maybe even add some Mega Man, Castlevania, whatever into that. That I'll leave to your imagination. I do not want to get too much into details from now on. But what they see is Peach's castle. And this is where things begin to start. Because it's not only that. There are two Goombas. Two Goombas who noticed them and now chase them. And they run away. And when they suddenly think, wait, those are Goombas. Shouldn't we jump on them? They look at them, at the Goombas, at each other. The Goombas actually are like breast tall to them. We can't jump that high. No. But can they shoot fireballs? That would be helpful, right? And then they actually find fireflowers and shoot those Goombas and make their way to Peach's castle. They meet their heroes on the way. Some evil force, of course, will be included because we need some villain. And I think the evil force is like something new that's not from a Nintendo game, but that takes possession of Bowser, Ganon, and Mother Brain, Ridley. All these villains from the Nintendo games. It takes possession of them, makes them stronger and things. And they have adventures, they meet up with heroes and other characters. You see, like, even obscure characters will be included. It will be like Avengers Endgame, but Nintendo. And not all at the same time necessarily, but like over time, because you can make this a long-running show. And I think I really, really wanna see a show like that. Really, I do. But it will never exist, sadly, because That would be just too much to ask for. Now, however, Nintendo, talking to you specifically, if you see this video, which very unlikely, but if you happen to see this video, or if you know somebody who works at Nintendo, maybe your uncle, then show that video to them. Take that idea. I don't want any money. Take that idea, run with it. If you want me as a writer on it, I will take that gladly. But if you just want to take the idea and do something with it, it's a gift from me. I loved Nintendo since my childhood. I grew up with it. Super Nintendo and Game Boy being my first consoles. I would be glad to give this back to you. So, that's my idea. Tell me, do you like it? Which characters? That's the question of the day. Which characters do you want to see that appear there? Tell me obscure characters though, because obviously Mario will appear, like, duh. But yeah, tell me that in the comments. Which obscure character from Nintendo do you want to see in a show like this? And then you check out this video, and until next time, bye.